We started the show 2.5 hours ago, and Hakeem Jeffries was at give or take the 3-hour mark of trying to just delay the big, beautiful bill vote, and he's still at it. I texted Mark Alford, our congressman in the 4th Congressional District on the Missouri side. I said, how's he doing it? And he writes back, well, depends. So here he is, the congressman in the 4th Congressional District. Good morning, Congressman. What have you been up to the last couple of hours?
I'm rearranging the furniture in my office. I didn't like the way it was kind of too much furniture in here. So I've got Hakeem on the big screen here in my office with the sound down. I got Fox News on, just making the best of my time before I go vote on the most historic piece of legislation I will vote on probably in my lifetime, the one big, beautiful bill. Hakeem can keep talking. That's okay. He calls it, listen to this, Pete. He came up with it about an hour into this thing. He said he's going to take a sweet time. So this is his sweet time. They call this the magic minute. So anytime there's a debate, the Speaker of the House or the minority leader can get up and they have a minute, but they can talk as long as they want to. They can hold the floor until they go to the bathroom. So that's what he's doing. He's trying to make a point. It is failing on the American people. We know we're going to pass this. We have the votes. It will be on the president's desk, and he will sign it into law on the Independence Day tomorrow. The B-2 stealth bomber pilots are coming to the White House tomorrow. It is a historic day for Missouri, a historic day for America.
Yeah, the magic minute. That's what it's dubbed? Gosh.
That's what it's called. This magic. I didn't know about it until I got here. And, the Republicans have used this. I mean, Kevin McCarthy used to use it a lot. It's kind of the House's version of the filibuster. We don't have the filibuster. The Senate has that,
But could he keep going until tomorrow just to delay Trump's plans to sign this thing on Independence Day?
Well, I don't see, unless he actually is wearing a Depends or something, which I don't think he would be, but you never know.
Like, didn't Cory Booker go 30 hours?
He could. He can go as long as he wants. But he's got this huge binder. He's got several binders that he's reading through. The problem is the people behind him, they're staged there. All the Republicans are in their office waiting for this to be over. The Democrats are back there, and they keep falling asleep. And they're having to yank them out and put in people who've drank a little more coffee. So you'll see a wide cast of characters making up the Democrat caucus behind Hakeem Jeffries.
And when they run out of people, they're going to pull the janitors out and put them behind them, too, just to have some bodies back there. I mean, have you guys – so you've been up all night. Is that a correct assessment?
Well, no. Somebody on my staff has. I've kind of dozed in and out of consciousness here on the couch. I sleep in my office most nights. So,
okay.
I was watching a movie, and I have my big screen TV. I have tuned on to our house network so I can see what's going on the house floor. And then I have my phone on ring high so that the floor crew and my chief could call me overnight if we were to vote and I were asleep.
Okay, so overnight you voted to basically get this thing to a final vote. So now
Correct.
We are certain that the votes are there to pass, as it's been dubbed, the one big, beautiful bill. There's no doubt about it. It is going to pass. It's just a matter of when Hakeem Jeffries is done essentially doing this filibuster.
Yeah, and they know it, but they have no – Pete, since Donald Trump got elected and inaugurated, basically, they have no voice, no message, no leader. Hakeem's not much of a leader. He's trying to become a leader now, and I think he's trying to keep up with what Cory Booker did a month or so ago in the Senate when he did that stupid filibuster that meant really nothing. He just talked for 25 hours. But they have no message, no vision, no leader until I think they do have one now. And this is this communist Marxist guy running for mayor, Mandami, who a lot of young people are glomming onto because they have no idea the evils of socialism. There's your leader right there. That is the future of the Democrat Party. Him, AOC, Jasmine Crockett. There's your leaders.
Mark Alford is joining us on KCMO. So I know, the president calls it the one big, beautiful bill. How beautiful is, I guess, left up to the eye of the beholder. I think there's plenty of non-beautiful things in the bill. So what about you? I know the margins are what they are. You've got to get something passed,
right,
and you've got to extend the tax cuts. I get the reality of the situation, but what are the parts of this bill that you believe aren't that beautiful and that you wish maybe weren't in it or look differently in the bill?
You could go to Tibble Jewelry right now on the plaza and buy the most beautiful emerald cut 2-carat diamond. It's still going to have a flaw in it. Every bill is going to have a flaw in it. I know that the rural hospitals in my district had some concerns about Medicaid reimbursements and the provider tax, which gets really wonky, basically how the money comes from the feds to the state and to the hospitals. That has been accounted for. There is now a fund set up with billions of dollars. Should there be hardships on rural hospitals, they can apply for this money to help mitigate some of the losses that they would incur. But I want to reiterate to people, if you're listening right now and you're a little confused because of the gaslighting and the lying, the downright lying of the Democrats, we are not kicking people off of Medicaid who should have been qualified to be there. If you are able-bodied between 18 and 65 with no dependents, okay, you should either be looking for a job, have a job, go through job training, or do charity community work for 20 hours a week. That is all we're asking. I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think it's unreasonable we're kicking off 1.4 million illegal aliens off Medicaid. And so the left will try to demonize it. That's where we're finding our savings for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, and you've heard this before, Pete, if we do not pass this, and we're going to pass it, we would have the largest tax increase in U.S. history. There's no doubt about it. The average family listening right now would pay about $2,500 more in taxes. And so businesses would go out of business because they weren't able to claim these deductions. We're going to have immediate expensing. If you own a business, that means something, because when you bought a big piece of equipment or a new building or some hard asset, it took you 10 years to depreciate that out. You can now deduct that off your taxes immediately. You know what kind of increase that's going to mean in our economic engine? People buying things, companies buying things, expanding. We are about to see a rocket go off in our economy. Mm-hmm. What's happening with the tariffs that are being settled, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act being made permanent? You just saw the labor figures that came out. Unemployment continues to drop. The labor participation force numbers are going up. This is a great economy, and it's about to get even better.
So on that note, you mentioned the Medicaid. There's been a lot of local reporting, as you can imagine, Kansas City Star and some of your former competitors on the TV side, specifically about rural hospitals, and because that is an easy punching bag for them to say, look at the Republicans screwing their own voters here in rural America. My understanding is some of what you just said there, which is that it's more about individuals and making sure that individuals, able-bodied adults in particular, without dependents, are getting back into the labor force, part-time, volunteering, whatever it might be. I'm just confused on where that's coming from with the rural hospital thing. What is the story there, and what is, in your interpretation, the real story about what's going on with the rural hospitals?
Well, look, there's no doubt the rural hospitals are in trouble. I've been to, I'm not going to name which one. There's one in my district. They told me they have 1 day cash on hand. That's not good.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I got a little cough here. But the way that this system operates, where the federal money continues to send money to the states for Medicaid, and the reimbursements, the way that the hospitals use this money and then turn around and end up taxing the federal government for this participation, it's screwy. And so we're trying to iron out the system to make it fair, make it survivable for these rural hospitals. And that's why this fund was set up in the Senate. You know, Josh Hawley wasn't on board with the savings to Medicaid. And now that this fund is in place, he's on board. And this was an idea that Lisa Murkowski had because she's very concerned about the rural hospitals in Alaska. These hospitals are going to be okay. The savings that we are finding is not going to make that much of an appreciable difference to the detriment of our rural hospitals.
So, and the real cuts come from just getting individuals who can handle it back into the workforce. That's where the bulk of the savings come from. But why? I'm trying to figure out why having able-bodied people go back to work would impact the cash on hand for a rural hospital.
I don't understand it. They're still going to use medical services. If you live down in Bates County, whether you got a job or not, either you're going to be using Medicaid because you qualify, or you're going to have a job and you're still going to use that hospital rather than coming up to Kansas City for treatment. Mm-hmm. So the logic to me just doesn't make sense. The customers, the clients, the healthcare clients are still going to be out there, and the money's going to come into the rural hospitals one way or another. It's just not going to be on the backs of taxpayers through a system that's going broke because we have people in the system who shouldn't be in the system.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought was going on here, but, I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, because there's just a lot of evident misinformation, it seems like, going on this front. But there's a lot happening, so we'll let you get some rest, Congressman, as much as you can, but hopefully you'll be getting to a vote here soon, and then I imagine coming back to Kansas City after that.
Yeah, I've got a 12:30 booked on Southwest, and I've got a 4:30 booked. And hopefully we won't have to stay the night here. I was invited to the White House to be with the B-2 stealth bomber pilots tomorrow, but Leslie wants me home to be with the family, and I agreed with her on that. So, but my heart will be at the White House tomorrow.
That's great.
I'm so proud of those guys and woman.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's going to be fantastic. And they are going to be honored tomorrow. Is that going to be like part of the television presentation?
I don't know. The First Lady actually invited them, so I don't think they're going to be part of the bill signing ceremony. I think that would be a violation, possibly of the Hatch Act. But they're going to be there, and it's going to make news. And they're doing a flyover. I think a B-2 is going to fly over the White House.
That's awesome. I can't wait. Well, Mark Alford, Missouri's 4th Congressional District, of course, also coming up on Saturday at 1 o'clock, Mark Alford's Capitol Recap, and then again on Sunday morning at 8:30, airing right here on 95.7 FM. We appreciate you, Congressman. Thanks for the time, as always.
All right. We'll see you back in the city.
You bet. Mark Alford on KCMO. Great to have him on the show.